1. Understanding what you can and cannot control. Many of the difficulties we face in life do not come from events themselves, but from the way we expect them to follow our wishes. We often spend time and energy trying to control things that are simply not within our reach. The weather does not change because we are upset. The past does not rewrite itself no matter how often we revisit it in our minds. The opinions of others are not ours to command. When we try to shape these things, we end up feeling frustrated, powerless, and drained. The Stoic philosophers reminded us of a simple but powerful truth. There are things that belong to us, and things that do not. What belongs to us are our thoughts, our judgments, our actions, and our choices. What does not belong to us are outside events, the behavior of others, and the unfolding of fortune. Understanding this difference brings clarity. It allows us to save our energy for what can actually be shaped by our effort. Marcus Aurelius, who carried the responsibility of an empire, reminded himself often that he had power only over his mind, not over outside events. If someone as powerful as an emperor had to accept this truth, then it applies to all of us. By learning to separate what is in our hands from what is not, we can find peace and strength. This is not passivity, it is wisdom. It is the first step toward living with focus and freedom. The cost of wasted energy. When we think about wasted time, we often imagine big mistakes or major failures. But the truth is, much of life is lost in quieter ways. It slips away through repeated worry, through replaying conversations in our heads, or by holding on to things that no longer matter. Energy drains slowly when we spend it on regrets about the past or fears about the future, or on trying to change what cannot be changed. Every time we allow ourselves to stay stuck in these patterns, we give away moments that could have been used for growth, learning, or creating. Hours spent in resentment or anxiety are hours not spent building relationships, developing skills, or enjoying the present. This slow loss of energy is far more common than dramatic failures, and yet it has a greater impact on the quality of our lives. The Stoic thinkers noticed this and urged people to be careful about where their attention and energy go. They understood that time is our most valuable resource, and once given away, it does not return. By becoming aware of how often we fall into unhelpful thought cycles, we can begin to redirect our effort toward what brings value. The real cost of wasted energy is not simply feeling tired. It is losing the chance to live fully. Each moment we spend wisely adds strength to our character and purpose to our life. Each moment wasted is one we cannot take back. The practice of the dichotomy of control. The Stoics introduced a very practical idea known as the dichotomy of control. It may sound complex, but at its core it is simple. There are things that we can control, and there are things that we cannot. The wisdom lies not in knowing this as a concept, but in practicing it each day. We cannot control the decisions or attitudes of other people, but we can control how we choose to respond to them. We cannot control whether circumstances change in our favor, but we can control whether we adapt with patience or fall into despair. We cannot control the past or the future, but we can control what we do in the present moment. This shift in focus does not remove challenges from life, but it helps us face them with clarity. Many times, frustration grows when we place our energy in areas that do not belong to us. For example, wishing for someone else to act differently or expecting life to always unfold in our favor only leaves us disappointed. The practice of the dichotomy of control means learning to accept what is outside our reach, while working carefully on what is within it, our thoughts, actions, and character. By practicing this consistently, we begin to protect our peace of mind. It is not about ignoring life, but about directing our effort where it makes a difference. This discipline creates resilience, and over time, it allows us to live with more stability and freedom. Shaping life through perspective. Life is often less about what happens to us, and more about how we choose to view it. Two people can face the same event and experience it very differently, depending on their mindset. This is why perspective is so powerful. When we shift the way we see challenges, we also change the way we experience them. The Stoic philosopher Epictetus, who faced many hardships in his life, taught that people are not disturbed by events themselves but by the judgments they attach to them. He lived with difficulties that were beyond his control, yet he discovered freedom in how he chose to respond. His example shows us that even when external conditions are not ideal, we can still shape our inner response in a way that preserves peace and dignity. This does not mean ignoring difficulties or pretending they do not exist. Instead, it means looking at them from a balanced perspective. Rather than asking, "Why did this happen to me?" we can ask, "How can I respond in a way that strengthens me?" In this shift, challenges become opportunities to practice patience, resilience, and clarity. When we direct our focus inward, toward our thoughts and actions, we gain stability. External events will always change, but our perspective can remain steady if we train it. Over time, this way of seeing life helps us live with more calm and purpose. Perspective, then, is not just a way of looking at things. It becomes a tool for shaping the life we live. 5. Living with clarity and discipline. One of the most valuable skills we can learn is to direct our attention wisely. Attention is like a form of energy, and wherever we place it, our life begins to grow in that direction. When we spend too much of it on things outside our control, we lose strength and clarity. But when we focus it on what belongs to us, our choices, our actions, and our mindset, we build stability and peace. The Stoics believed this discipline was essential. Each day, they reminded themselves to draw a clear line between what is within their power and what is not. This was not a theoretical exercise, but a practical habit, helping them act with intention instead of being carried away by distractions. By practicing this clarity, they protected their energy for what truly mattered. Living with discipline does not mean living without joy. Instead, it means creating the space where joy, calm, and growth can naturally take root. When we guard our attention as carefully as we would guard something valuable, we make sure it is invested in actions that bring purpose. This could be nurturing relationships, developing skills, or simply being present in the moment. Over time, this discipline shapes our character. It helps us respond to challenges with patience and to opportunities with readiness. Clarity allows us to see where our effort will make a difference, and discipline ensures we follow through. Together, they create a life that feels steady, meaningful, and truly our own.